Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Sean Baligian.
What is up? Glad you could join us. He's Mike. I'm Sean. Hi. The wacky lottery, Mike. The wacky lottery. I don't know what I was watching. I know the rules. Like, it was funny. Like, a lot of people were like, well, the rules are real easy. Yeah, I know the rules. I just don't know what I was watching. And the fact that you had Commissioner Bettman constantly turning around saying, Robert. And as I pointed out, anything that John Buccigross is involved in immediately goes down 43.8%. It was weird. It's just the whole thing. It was like, what are you guys trying to do? Are you trying to build drama? What was like the whole point of it? I like, honestly, it was really, really strange.
So even worse, usually you can watch the highlights and you get a better kind of view of it. It was even worse, Sean. Like, it was even more confusing. Buccigross was even more annoying. And we just have to get to the point, and you made it on Twitter, to where we realize the gimmick of the lottery is over. It happened a long time ago when people thought it would get viewership and would make it more of an ordeal. Just give the picks to the teams that finish last and get it over with. It's confusing. It's a math problem.
Yeah, it really is. And as Mike pointed out, like, an embarrassment to the league, an indictment on Bettman's lack of ability to run the league. It really is, Mike, just to be a wiseacre, to be a smart aleck. Why don't you, I have a crazy idea, just go in order of finish. You know, you don't have the tanking issues, Mike, in the National Hockey League that you do in other sports. You just don't. There's no other way to say that.
You don't have the tanking issue, and the issue that the NHL has is the bottom end. There's no nice way to say it, Sean, sucks. Yeah, and they're really bad. They're hard to watch, and they're not competing right now. They need those picks more than an Islanders or whoever's has moved up in the time. The San Jose Sharks, the Chicago Blackhawks. These guys need those picks, and that would solve a bigger problem for the NHL, and they've got problems.
Well, and you know what it comes down to? I mean, so many people go Leafs. So many people complain about, well, the Red Wings dropped again, and they dropped a spot. But the reality is, Mike, you're look, you have to get lucky when you're picking down in that area. They're in that weird, I guess you could say, purgatory right now, where maybe they strike lightning. Maybe they strike lightning with a guy like down in that area. But this is kind of where the Red Wings are as a franchise right now.
Yeah, and I know everyone wants that number one pick. They want them to move down, or they could have got to the number two pick, and they are in that kind of soft spot. But this is one of those draft, Sean's, that I don't think anybody knows who's going to really go where. I know right now number one's really pointing at that D. Maybe the Islanders are even doing San Jose a favor by taking that number one. Now they get that pick. Are they taking the forward? Are they going to take the defenseman? But the Wings have to get it right. But they're in that spot in a draft where they could get that guy.
Yep. No doubt about it. Let's get it out of the way right now, by the way, because I know Ray wants to get at this. Mike said, if look at the standings for the NBA in Bleacher Report, they literally have a tanking section. I crap you not. Yeah, and tankathon is a real thing. Tankathon is a real thing. Just do everything the NFL does to a T. Boy, the NFL seems to do things right. It's kind of weird how that works itself out. The NHL takes what should have been a cool moment with the lottery and made it boring and confusing for the fans. Absolutely. And Mike, it was funny because I'm sure you saw it. There are a few snobs. Well, I understood it. I could have explained it to you. Yeah, I understand it. I'm very aware of how it works, and Google is my friend. and it's still confusing, and it's still stupid, and it still makes absolutely no sense. It really does.
And again, I'll say it over and over and over. It has jumped the shark. It's over with. It's not tuning in. And here, full disclosure, Sean, you sent me a text last night, and I didn't get home till late. You sent me a text, and I didn't even know what it meant about this draft. I'm like, what is he talking about? So I get home and I'm watching the hockey game, and then they started talking, and I go, "Oh crap! I totally missed it." Again, I'm over it. It doesn't really matter to me. Just do it. But when people that want to watch it, and they don't understand it, that means the people that you're trying to get in, the newbies, some new fans and stuff, they're not going to understand it. They're going to turn it off. You've totally defeated the purpose. It needs to go away.
No, that's exactly it. And by the way, hold on, Celebrini, Kane, Tays combo. Who's going to go number one overall? I mean, that's the biggest. Is it going to be Schaefer? Is it going to be the kid out of Saginaw? What's the case next season? Is the draft teams will tank for? That seems to be the thought. But can I, for you, Ray, since you're here, and I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts, Ray. I didn't see you talk about it today. Can we talk about the hit last night, Mike? Can we talk about the hit last night? I know that we are living in a day and age where every hit should be a suspension. I totally get that. Mike, at the risk of sounding like what do people call guys like you and I, Neanderthals from that era, right?
Yep.
I'm kind of perplexed. I'm sorry. He got him with a chicken wing. Like literally got him with a chicken wing, right?
And when me and you go to Buffalo Wild Wings and we wait for those wings to come out, and we're going to see, are they big meaty wings or are they chicken little? That chicken wing was chicken little.
Yeah.
I got to say, I would love to hear Stolarz talk about it. I want to know if it was the slap shot to the head earlier in the game that did it more than that. That may have put the icing, on the cake, they say, because obviously you throw up on the bench all over the place, which I'm still amazed that no players ran and hid from it. They kind of just watched it like they were amazed that he was puking, which was kind of gross. And then they stretchered him out. So there was clearly something going on there. But I really do think it was the slap shot before the hit.
100% it was. There's no doubt in my mind. That's exactly what it is. Now, don't get me wrong. Should the Leafs be agitated that happened? Sure, absolutely. But Ray, thank you, my friend. Ray, I've always respected you. You know that. We have fun with the little rivalry and everything. But Ray said the shot he took that took his mask off caused it. Absolutely, positively. It's we live in an era now where, Mike, I'm going to say it again, okay? Because, guys like us get called Neanderthals and you long for the days of the Bruise Brothers. And I like today's game. I do. I really like today's game. And I know some old school guys get mad at me for saying it. Mike, I think you're in the same boat as me. I like today's game. There is an emphasis put on speed. There is an emphasis put on skill. You still get, some toughness, especially come playoff time. I really like today's game. So this isn't a case of me going, it's not a suspension. You know what? This is a case of me being objective and saying that's not a suspension.
Yeah, and I agree with you. We have this talk all the time. We're on the same page with how much we like today's game. And even to the point of I could do away with some of the goonery. And me and you have had this conversation. You don't need a fight every time someone throws a good, clean, hard hit. I would like to see that stuff go away. So the days of the Neanderthal are gone. Yes, we came from that era, but we like the speed and the skill of today's game.
Yep, no doubt about it. Ray said, should the Leafs dress Reeves and put fear in the Panthers or avoid it because that's what Florida wants? That's a great question. I'll say this. If you go down that road, you are playing into Florida's hands. I would not want to play into Florida's hands. I think Florida does it better than anybody. Mike?
100%. Now, if you're doing that, what you're saying is you want to see a fight. You want to see them engage the Panthers. I thought Toronto actually out-Panthered the Panthers last night. They tried to give it away because, as every team seems to do, they go into that shell and sag a little bit in the third period trying to protect the lead. But they out-Panthered the Panthers. They played physical. They threw the forecheck at them, and they skated away every time they tried to do something and didn't let them get to them. By throwing Reeves in there, you play right into their game, and I think Florida gets the edge.
So what was your takeaway from last night? You and I were texting each other late. We were, no offense to the Leaf fans out there, we were laughing because we knew that you guys were in a state of hysteria, that you were going to blow that lead. You held on. You take the 1-0 lead. I think you picked the Leafs in the series, didn't you? You picked the Leafs in the series. How are you feeling about it?
Without Stolarz, I'm not feeling good. Without Marner, Matthews, and Tavares, I'm not feeling good. With their bottom 6 guys being combined like -10, I'm not feeling good. But with Nylander going Nylander and actually being, I think, the head of the Conn Smythe voting right now, or voting or betting actually right now, and Matthew Nyes actually picking up on the other end of it.
Sure has.
And just their game plan, and this is what I talked about, Sean, Berube getting them to play. They played a good game. I just don't think it's sustainable without Stolarz, and I don't think it's sustainable with Matthews, Marner, and Tavares playing the way they're playing. And don't tell me, oh, they're playing more defensive and responsible. No, they're not. They're not doing that, and they need to put up points. You can't have a lucky chip assist on Marner be their only point to do that.
Mike G, I like what you said there. Panthers are tough without the goon. Agreed. Do you know who they remind me of, Mike? They remind me of Brian Burke's Anaheim Ducks. They really do. They just play with that edge. And I always go back to, I don't want to take credit for this because it's something that Mike Babcock said. And I don't like to quote Mike Babcock very often, to be honest with you. But I remember what he said in answer to that going into the next season. And he said, toughness is a choice. You either choose to be tough or you don't. You know, that doesn't mean, as Mike said, that doesn't mean you have to drop the mitts. That doesn't mean that you have to go flying around out of control every shift. You just have to play tough. You have to bring a little bit of an edge. And Mike G, I agree with you. I think that is exactly the way that Florida brings it.
You just have to play tough enough, gritty enough, and annoying enough to throw the other team off. And again, I get back to Berube and the way he's running this team. And just let's look at this team. I mean, who is Max Pacioretty, Sean? Who is that guy on that ice throwing checks and playing big and doing that stuff? Tanev, McCabe, let's go on down. Lawton, Lorentz, McMahon. They've got the same kind of team, and those guys played hard-hitting, heavy hockey and did exactly what the Panthers do. Again, the difference being when Florida's winning and winning cups, their top guys, the Kachucks, the Bennetts, and the Reinhardts, are pumping goals in. Toronto needs their guys to step it up.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's see. With today's speed and skill, the NHL still needs to go to an Olympic-sized rink. I think it would be fun. I'm not going to lie. I do.
You do?
I do think it would be fun. It's never going to happen, but it would be fun to see. With the premium being on speed, I think it would be fun to see. I do. The problem is I think defensemen would die. I mean, you know it. I think they would die.
Defensemen would die, and my question would be, do you think that they would coach the speed and the skill and the fun out of the Olympic-sized rink? Because I agree with what you're saying, but can't you see someone coming in and coaching around it and just clogging it up and, you know, possessing the puck too much and slowing the game down?
Yes.
That would be my fear.
Yes. Realistic goalie target for Detroit in free agency over the summer. It's a must. The list sucks. I mean, look, this isn't a good UFA list overall. I'll get to you in a second, Mr. Iavasile. I see you with your hands up. I feel like I'm on Woodward the other day. Everybody was doing Mr. Believe in the other day. We've talked about it a lot, Mike. I think the UFA class this year sucks outside of Mitch Marner. I think the goaltenders are even less than. I really do. And if you want, I can read you the list of goaltenders, but the UFA goaltender class is just not good.
Yeah, and you can read that list, but my question would be, what is wrong with Cam Talbot? I thought the guy stepped up. He played well. He did what he needed to do. And we're not a goaltender away, so why would you take any more money than we already have wrapped up in goalies and get another goalie? Like it's a non-issue, I think, for me, with all the other holes there are. And again, Talbot did his job. And we made a trade at the deadline and got a goalie. Come on.
You're going to go there. You're going to go there. Okay. You're fine. You're going to go there. Whatever. Serious trolling. We hit early, but still got doubled on hits. We did block 40 shots, which we would have done last year. Florida, I heard some complaining about the Pistons. Bad boys play hard, a little dirty, but win despite it. Yeah. I like Florida. I like the way they play. I think we've all wondered aloud if they're going to run out of gas. We'll wait and see. Mike, I'll say it again. Look, I think Florida's going to win the series. If Toronto wins the series, I think they're going to the Stanley Cup. I really, truly do. Now that, again, is taking into consideration a healthy Stolarz. That's the way I feel, and I'm not backing down from it,
No. Wall I could see him having a hot game, but he came in cold out of nowhere. He looked less than shaky yesterday. And the team didn't help in front of him. I mean, Tavares had 3 assists for Florida, for God's sakes.
Chris, I'm going to get to what you said. We talked about it the other night because somebody mentioned it and it's caught fire. Mike, I know we talked about it Saturday, but here it is Tuesday. I really don't think there's much validity to it. I don't. I think it more sounds like somebody threw something against the wall. As far as I'm concerned, the Sidney Crosby stuff. But very quickly, before we get to that, did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? Our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents, and they provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you and, oh, by the way, help save you some money. Alex took care of us. One phone call the next day said, you want savings? I got your savings. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're probably paying too much and you could be underinsured. So what are you waiting for? Give Legacy a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quote. So, Mike, you know the life that I live. Before we get to this Sidney Crosby to Montreal stuff, you know the life that I live. More often than not, somebody's going to accuse me of being a Hab slappy, and that's fine. That's fine and dandy. And I have a mutual friend of ours got very, very angry with me about a year ago when I told him, look, I know you don't want to hear this, but Montreal is ahead of the curve on the rebuilding thing. They started 3 years later, but at least they started with Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki. They're ahead of the curve. And I think as you head into this offseason, obviously take into consideration what they already have. I don't know how one human being couldn't say, wow, in regards to what they have. And the fact that they made the playoffs, had the 3-1 record over the Wings, but they're in a different position that they can now deal from a position of strength in a couple different ways. They have 2 first-round picks. They have 2 second-round picks. They have 2 third-round picks. They also have some pieces in the system right now that aren't in Montreal yet, that probably could play in the National Hockey League right now, and they're just not going to have a spot for them in Montreal. They're just not. Some good players as well. So now they can deal from a position of strength where I don't think Steve Yzerman's at that point yet. As you and I have talked about ad nauseum. If you're calling Steve Yzerman, you want a deal. Yeah, the first thing I'm doing as a general manager, Mike, is I'm going, tell me about Casper. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to look longingly at him. Tell me about ASP. Those are the things that I'm asking for. Things that, quite frankly, you don't want to give up right now. And I think, people would probably ask about, some of those pieces in Montreal, but you could say, well, I'm not going to give you Demidov, but could I interest you in Reinbacher, who I think they're going to hang on to? Could I interest you in Logan Malloy? Could I Malou? Can I interest you in Beck from Saginaw? Whatever the case may be. So with that Sidney Crosby stuff, if you decided that you were going to want to do it, that would be the type of team that could give you some young resources, some picks. And, oh, by the way, Sid grew up a Habs fan and his dad was drafted by the Habs. Do I think it's going to happen, Mike? I don't. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't. And you know why I don't think it's going to happen? Because the Habs aren't a Stanley Cup. They're not that far away right now. You got to wait a couple years yet. You got to wait a couple years yet.
But we talked about it when I was over the other day and we were doing the watch party that if given that opportunity, whether we think they're this close or how close they think they would jump at it. But it's not the Habs' decision is what we decide. That's the Sidney Crosby decision, right? Like if he wants to do it, when he wants to do it, is it maybe down the road at the during this year once he sees what Kyle's done to this team and he's destroyed it another team, and I think that he will at some point, in my opinion, unless he's going to be I'm going to die with the Penguins, he's going to want out of that garbage. It's going to be a shit show real soon.
Mike, that crack about the Wings making a trade for a goalie at the deadline made me laugh. Still. West playoffs have been amazing, up and down the ice. East, at times, it's like playing in quicksand. You know what's funny, Ray? I was on Jack Ebling's a good buddy of mine, Lansing State Journal, Lansing Radio and TV, and he asked me to come on and talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs and everything, and we talked about the Game 7s. And, Mike, you were over my house, so I know your thoughts, but I'm going to let you pontificate about it. Don't tell anybody. Shh. That Stars-Avs game was awful for about 2.5 periods. It just wasn't a good game. I know everybody's going to talk about Rantanen going superhero, and rightfully so. And he was the only guy going anyway, as it is, and pushing the pace. But Mike, that wasn't a good game for about 2.5 periods. Let's be honest.
Well, let's be honest. Both games were terrible until the ending. They were great endings and which created a story. But the unfortunate thing is we had to choke through 2.5 periods of pretty terrible hockey to get there. A game where the Stars did nothing. Like you said, Rantanen pushed the pace on 2 shifts and got 2 goals. 2 shifts in a game. Then a terrible penalty call. They get the power play. They score immediately. They win that game. Terrible game. The Winnipeg game. Winnipeg was god-awful. They needed a power play and 2 6-on-5 goals to do anything. And then St. Louis decided, you know what? Hellebuck looks like the worst goalie in the NHL. For the third period in overtime, we're not going to shoot the puck.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing? And what I want, I said this last year, I say this every year, can I just get a game where both teams are playing good the entire game? I hate this. I dominate you for 2.5 period. I dominate you 2 shift. I win. Like that's awful hockey. It's not watchable. That's why I go to bed early, Sean.
Yep. Ray, and by the way, I couldn't agree with you more. Having all these prospects are good to have, but isn't the point to win now? If moving these prospects can help now, why not do it? Do not worry about 3 to 5 years from now. It depends what point of the journey you're at. Ray, I agree with you right now. A team like Montreal, why? What's the point? I would move those picks. You have the core of your team for the next 10 years. You really, truly, Mike, slappy check me. I'm not being too much of a slappy, am I? I'm not.
No, I will tell you. I think you're dead on. I think I've become more of a slappy than you during the first round and right now.
But Ray, are the Red Wings there yet? I don't think so. I really don't, because you're gonna have to take calls and give up guys that you don't want to give up right now. That's just the way it is. I like that's where we're at, you know. Chris, I didn't see Jeff Molson's response to the Islanders about Gorton. I didn't see it. If you could put that up there. Mike, did you see that? The Habs owner from the Molson family, Jeff Molson, I didn't see it. Our buddy Tom in London, good evening. I'm not sure the London Knights are ever going to lose again. Tom, I just wanted to throw that out there. There's Jason, happy Habs Slappy, Sean are going Habs Slappy, 1967 bitch. Now, all jokes aside, they're loaded right now. I'm not saying that a Stanley Cup is imminent or anything like that, but if you follow this stuff, there's it's not only what the slapdicks on social media say with their prospect rankings, but I think you can see what's in their stable right now at the NHL level, and that's pretty cool. 1.7 seconds left for St. Louis to move on, and I had to sit through almost a second game of bad hockey. Those overtimes. Oy, oy, oy. Mike, I made the decree to my son, I can't stay up for third overtime. And so thankfully it didn't, I got a chance to see it. But somebody said something about Hellebuyck. I'm going to tell you what, I'm not joking. In game 6, I felt sorry for the guy. I did. Mike, I did. I felt sorry for the guy. And then he backed it up by being shaky. Early on in game number 7, it's a case of the yips, man. And I'm sorry. It's just, you just shake your head at that stuff. It makes me uncomfortable to see the yips. It really does.
Yeah, and I mean, it didn't take long. Within the first minute, they're scoring a goal, and I was at my nephew's house. So I had my brother, my brother-in-law, and everyone there, and I was just and my brother's a goalie, a damn good goalie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jim, what is he doing? I go, look how off he is. His angles and his body was so off. I think he looked more confident towards the end of that game and made some nice saves that could carry the Jets in a little bit. But again, we have to see it. But it is. I'm the same way, Sean. I don't like the cringe stuff. I have to look away.
Let me tell you about our friends at the Wealth Advantage Group. If you're ready to take charge of your financial future, well, look no further than those two handsome fellows right there. The gentleman behind the Wealth Advantage Group. That's Mike Cusack on the left, Jeff Cusack on the right, who's loving his Oilers right now. Located in historic downtown Northville, owned by those two brothers with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. They understand that your financial goals are different than ours. They've taken care of us. They can take care of you. How? Well, they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, you're getting ready to sell a company, you're already in retirement, it doesn't matter where you're at. These guys can help you through the remaining steps of your journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life, and they have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one, but if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time to work with the experts. Two great guys right there, Mike Cusack and Jeff Cusack, the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574. Check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Give them a call. You will be glad that you did. Chris, I didn't even know that. The Islanders asked permission to talk to Gorton. Molson told them Gorton is here for life. Okay, at Gorton, it's pretty hard to deny what Gorton and Hughes have done. How about this, Mike? Should the NHL move to 4-on-4 after the first overtime? Can I tell you, I would love it, but it'll never happen. I would personally love it. And I think I have to take a wash after it. I would personally love it, but it's never going to happen. You know it.
That's fair. I can never see it happening. They're not going to touch anything in the playoffs like that. It would be sacrilege. And I just couldn't, as bad as overtimes can be, as great, they can be just as great too. And that's something that's just ingrained part of the game. We can't change that.
And the funny thing about it is we tend to put them on pedestals that they don't belong, because it was interesting to hear people talk about some famous double overtime games from when we were kids. And I can tell you the one, Mike, the Hartford Montreal one in 92 was terrible. It was terrible. It really, truly was. It was terrible. And Russ Courtnall scored the cheapest ass goal in the history of man on poor Frank Pietrangelo, who that was his one shining moment. It wasn't good. But we all remember the dramatics, and the game ended at 12:05, and that's the stuff that we remember.
And I will be the guy that said the longer they go, the worse they are.
Yeah.
The ones that end within the first 5 to 8 minutes are the best ones because they're fresh, they're moving, and you can get some excitement there. Anything towards the end of that, the end of the first overtime is going to be terrible. The second overtime, you get about 3 minutes of the first. Then it's 17 minutes of terrible, and anything after that, triple overtime is awful. There's no legs.
Jason said, as someone that played the position, watching Hellebuck is just painful. It really, you're watching the yips in real time, and a guy that knows that there's a narrative about him, a team that knows there's a narrative about them, and just fighting. Now, how do you change the narrative? You can't talk about changing the narrative. You have to go win multiple series to change the narrative. But props to them. They got it done late, found a way to win it in overtime. Ray, Vegas, Edmonton, or Winnipeg, Dallas, which series will have you stay up late with its late starts? I'm really intrigued at Vegas, Edmonton. Really, 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 really intrigued. Mike, I'm going to go as far as to say I think the winner of that series goes to the Stanley Cup Finals. And I know a lot of people are saying Edmonton, but I think the winner of that series goes to the Stanley Cup Final.
I agree with you. Right now on paper, I say the Edmonton-Vegas game. I will be watching as much as I can. I will be snoring well before the end of it, probably in between the first and second period. You know my issues with intermissions. However, it won't take much because I got a pretty big ticket in that Dallas-Winnipeg game. It won't take much to get me to start watching that one.
You have to start talking about all your intricacies because you are really setting yourself up. With this here and that there, and this here and that there, you're setting yourself up, Mike.
Yeah, I did a rather, I like myself, Sean. I did a really good job this year of not pulling triggers too early to where of the 8 teams left, I've got money on 6 of them. And I go anywhere from breaking even to, like I said, there's a man, Eddie Vedder said, I hope all the people are smiling and I hope every day is grand. It could be very grand. So the only 2 I don't have are Florida and Vegas, and that is because I didn't like their path and they didn't lose enough to get it to where I could have them. I honestly can't believe I got Dallas at 22-1 when it was 1-1 in this series. I didn't understand that one. But I've got them anywhere from 40-1 on Washington to, I believe I got Toronto at 10-1. So I won't dip any lower. If Florida or Vegas intrigue me and they get up in the 15 to 20-1 odds, I might throw a dart at them because that I can throw very little and not impact my winnings and have another team in my portfolio.
Does Robertson return for Dallas? They're missing a couple key cogs. Don't forget, Scheifele could be back for Winnipeg. Dallas is a different team. You get both of them back. And Dallas is, I picked them at the start of the year. Mike, I was one of those guys. I'm sorry, they're too banged up. You get those guys back, all of a sudden, it's a whole different proposition for Pete DeBoer and Steve Spott.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything I'm reading is that they were skating and probably could have played in Game 7. But again, what are you doing? You're risking it. So they didn't go with them. They should be ready by everything that I'm reading.
That'll be interesting. Hey, listen, let me tell you about Lindsay Broadwell. When it comes time to get yourself a house, buying, selling, oftentimes both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? There she is, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you will ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville. She's expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business. So when it's time to move, Lindsay and her team will make sure that you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when buying your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyers, doesn't matter. Just make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Mike, I'm a simpleton. You know that. I like Carolina's team better than Washington's team. I mean that. In no way, shape, or form can I say a Freddie Anderson team is going to beat Logan Thompson. I can't. I like honestly, and don't forget, I picked Carolina. I legitimately picked Carolina. I just can't, especially after watching the way that Logan played in the first round, which, to your point, at times he kind of stopped an onslaught when, of course, the Habs decided to turn it on, which is always in the third period. He stopped, and I just can't bring myself to say, yeah, man, I like Freddie Anderson over Logan Thompson. I just can't do it.
So do you have the game on right now?
I don't.
Okay. So I've got it right here. I've got it right here on the iPad, and I've been watching it out of the corner of my eye. And it's funny you bring up Freddie Wah. I mean Freddie Anderson, because he's standing on his head right now.
Is he really?
Yeah, he single-handedly. They say your best penalty killer's got to be your goalie. Made some nice saves out of power play, and this is one of these games that I might get what I asked for. This seems to be going back and forth, where each team's kind of carrying the play back and forth. The problem right now is I haven't seen Washington do crap 5-on-5. It's all been on that power play. So, but he's looked good, so he's living up to it right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So you're gone. Speaking of Pearl Jam, aren't you going to see Pearl Jam this weekend, buddy?
Yes, we fly out Thursday, and I'll be on Broadway in Nashville Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, watching Pearl Jam at Bridgestone Arena Thursday night. Can't wait.
I'm sad that you can't come over on Saturday. We're gonna have to figure out something during the week and then on the weekend too.
Okay, I'll be twist my arm. I'll be at the airport, so maybe I'll phone in. Maybe I'll phone in if you guys are on there.
Double barbecue. Oh, okay. Twist my arm. Ray, Sean, did you see the Facebook post I sent you about a Larkin to Vancouver trade that was potential? That's been out there for a couple months. But we'll bite anyway. Mike, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on that?
The first thing I would be, with how testy everything that we think is, as we interpret the interaction between Larkin and Mr. Yzerman, that you would think it would be a possibility, but with a full no trade clause, I don't see Mr. Waterford, Michigan going to Vancouver. And I did like the comeback that I was reading today with like Vancouver's first round pick, one of their top prospects, and a young roster guy. So that would be good. I just can't see Larkin doing it. It would be too good for us to get rid of him, honestly.
I don't know this for sure. Okay. I don't want you to think that I'm speaking from a position of pure, undeniable fact. I don't think the Larkin Yzerman snafu is that big in management's eyes. How's that?
Okay.
I don't think it's that big. I don't. Now, does that mean that he's not entertaining offers? No, it doesn't mean that. I don't think it's that big. I really truly don't. Just a hunch. How's that? Just no. I don't know. Undeniable fact. The one thing that Steve has shown in his tenure as a general manager is expect the unexpected, and sometimes trading some guys that I go back to Drew, and we're not trading him. He's a part of our plan. We're not trading him. And then he traded him. So this is is it possible that he could still be part of a trade if it helps out the Detroit Red Wings? Yeah, absolutely. But Mike, what's your favorite Pearl Jam song? Ray asked. I don't even know this answer.
Tremor Christ. I will go with Tremor Christ as a song that I can rock out to. It's an older one, Vitology. But what I got to say is, Ray, get the new album, listen to the new album. A song like Got to Give, Scared of Fear, they're fantastic.
If Detroit does trade Larkin at first, they should send him to Buffalo for one of its young guys, Power or Thompson. Buffalo's got to get it right at some time, right? At some point in time, with just all the talent they've had there, my gosh, it reminds me of those Edmonton teams pre-McDavid. Just years and years of good players, and they just sucked. There was something in the water, you know.
Everything you've got to either management's got to get the locker room under control and have a bunch of guys that are coachable, or they've got to get a coach in there that can do the job. They've had some cream puffs in there. So what the problem is, I don't know, but just looking at the talent they have, like seriously, Sean, I vote they blow it up and just start trading guys out, and we know a couple teams that'll take some of them.
No doubt about that. Look at the coach. Hey, groupie, have fun. Dave, I do it for Pavel Bure. Double sausage party from Jason. One more thing before we get out of here, just a programming note. Bohannick and I are doing a Tiger thing tomorrow. We're going to take Thursday off, Todd. I know you got some stuff going on, so we're going to take Thursday off. We're probably going to do a watch thing Saturday. I'll do a watch thing Saturday during the game. Mike won't be there. Sorry, Mike. But we'll make up for it with 2 the next week. How's that? We'll do perfect the next week. Hey, graduation season is upon us. So you're looking for a place that can take care of you. How about that place? All About Catering. All About Catering LLC is a full service caterer. They've done graduation parties for us. Graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Really appreciate them. No Leafs on Saturday, NHL or TV call. Go ahead.
What's wrong with the NHL?
I don't.
There, and it was something when I said earlier that the NHL's got problems. Their viewers are down 27% right now. And I was sitting there talking to Sebastiano today, and I lost it. I just went off, Sean, and poor Sebi had to bear the brunt of it. How has the NHL not had their superstar on prime time or at 4:00 or something? They just hide him at 10:00. What are we doing? Like, I don't understand what they're doing.
How many guys in the league legitimately get you off your ass? Okay. How many guys? I'm serious. Nathan McKinnon is one. That zone entry he had the other night where you, Hubie, and Coach and I all looked at each other and just started laughing. Not a word needed to be said. It looked like somebody, the old VCR, you know when you press fast forward? It looked like somebody pressed fast forward only on Nathan McKinnon. It really did. And we all kind of looked at each other and laughed. We didn't have to say a freaking word. We all just laughed. Connor McDavid's another one. Literally just make you get right off your ass. There aren't many. Mike, you have such a legitimate point. Why the hell aren't the Edmonton Oilers at 8:00 at night?
And Sebastiano is 18. He'll be 19 coming this September, Sean. You know what he said? He said, the NBA's had 2 games at 6:00 this year in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you can't do sports during the day. What the F has baseball been doing forever? What did the Cubs do their entire life before they had lights at Wrigley? They play sports during the day, and people take the day off or skip work. I watch it from work. You can do that. And I'm not talking about a 1:00 Monday game, but you know what I'm saying, Sean.
We actually have the 6:00 game on Saturday. I mean, which is funny. I mean, the Canes and Caps, I believe, is the 6:00 game. I say it all the time, Mike. The the COVID year schedule was the greatest. It really was. That was the greatest schedule known to man. It was, hey, Mike, I'll have ribs ready at noon. I'll get up at 8. I'll have ribs ready at noon. And then after the first game, when the second game comes on at 4, the beef short ribs should be ready. And then, during intermission, I'll put on a bunch of wings, and those wings will be ready by the 7 o'clock game. And then at 10 o'clock, if we're still hungry, let's fire on a few sausages. How do you beat that? How the hell do you beat that?
That was one of the more amazing days. And I think we had the conversation of, is the NHL going to take this and do something with it?
Right. Yep.
And they just didn't. And again, 6 o'clock on a Saturday is easy. A 6 o'clock, a 5:30 game on a Tuesday. So you could go 5:30, 7:30, and then you can have your 9:30. If you have another late game, you have to have it. Imagine a 5:30 East Coast game, a 7:30 Edmonton game. You get to see McDavid. You get to see these guys. You push the product. Come on, NHL. It's too easy.
For the record, in case you guys missed it, we can all agree. I hope nobody argues. Connor McDavid's the best player in the game. Okay. 9:30 tonight, 9:30 Thursday. Hey, they moved it up on Saturday to 9:30 on Monday. The rest of the series is TBD. Like, what the bleep are we doing, man? What are we doing?
They're hiding the MVP and the best player in the game on the West Coast. And great. And I love, the West Coast deserves it. I know.
She's going back and forth. Look at her.
She's getting zoomies.
She's
like, where's McDavid? Where is he? Where's he hiding McDavid?
Ray said it was down in the U.S. 51% of the country, they said in Canada, watch the first round. You guys are smart. Crosby not in, not helping. For the original 6, not in, hurting U.S. rating. I hope that's not the case. I'm serious. I hope that's not the case. I don't think any hockey fan I know pays attention to that. It's the moderate. You know what I mean? It's the moderate that always gets wrapped up in that. Cornstalker said, as a West Coast viewer, please don't start too early. Cornstalker, can we find a common ground? Can we find a common ground? Instead of starting at 9:30 Eastern time, which I know is 6:30 for you, is there any possible way we can intrigue you in starting at 5? Can we do that? Is that a middle ground for you for the way, since you represent the entire West Coast, since you brought it up? Is there any way we can entice you to a 5 o'clock start, or is that too early for you guys? And I'm being serious. I don't know. I'm not. Thank you. All right.
Yeah,
we did.
It's not every game, Sean. Like I don't need every West Coast game like that. But when we're talking, our numbers are down, and we need to push the product. You have to have the top guys there. McKinnon, McDavid, Draisaitl. They need to be in that primetime East Coast slot to where a majority of the people are watching.
I've never seen a league that does more counterproductive things. We come full circle. We start with that whole draft lottery fiasco, and the only thing I can think of to make things worse is just have Bucci do multiple games. Then you really want to shoot yourself? Make sure you get Bucci in there to do multiple games.
Can we have Emily Kaplan do the color, please? Pretty please.
Your thoughts on Blackwell, Mike, in the closing?
He made some great saves.
He was everywhere, as a matter of fact.
He was in multiple games.
He jumped in the zone. He made some stops. That damn Blackwell. All right, we got to get out of here. Thank you, Mike. Safe travels to you, my friend.
Thank you.
We'll put together a menu for things we can do next week, okay?
100%. Let me know what I can bring, my friend.
The NHL is horrible at marketing stars. How many people can name a Carolina or Dallas player? Ray, I don't know if you know this. The game that we used to play on the radio all the time, Pick 3, started exactly like that. Exactly like that. The defending Stanley Cup champion Dallas Stars, and I asked somebody on the air to name 3 Dallas Stars, and he couldn't do it. Like that was, I remember that, and that's thus Pick 3 was born. Like that's literally how it started. It's, and I agree with your point wholeheartedly. I don't. How many years did it take us to see Alexander Ovechkin in commercials, Mike. And now it seems he's like everywhere. Why did it? Falupa. Oh my gosh, is that funny? That's a great call. That's a great poll. Do you remember that? Falupa. I did a name 3 Red Wings, and a guy was like, Lidstrom, Zetterberg, and Falupa. And I was like, I can't accept that. That sounds like something you could get from Taco Bell. That's a great reminder, dude. Hey, and look, the bots are in, Todd. That's cool. The bots just jumped in. That's fantastic.
We got botted.
Yeah, we got botted. All right. A gold biograph something. All right.
Yes.
Listen, Mike, safe travels, my friend. That's awesome. Thank you. Mike, safe travels. We'll figure something out next week. And until then, you guys take care. God bless you. We'll see you soon. Bye. Bye.
What the Puck with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Always Pushing Forward by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.